Guys, the real reason you cannot afford a house, guys, this is a suggestion via Discord, but really quickly, there are a couple of reasons that I can think of before we even jump into this video here. We have people that are trading houses like stocks these days, okay? What they're doing is they're putting their nest egg instead of the bank, because banks are basically insolvent these days, guys, right? So what they're doing is they're putting money into houses because they know that at the very least, the return on their investment is going to be absolutely solid, specifically if that house is paid off, right? Because now you're instead of getting like a small minuscule return on like a yearly basis, you're getting a solid return monthly by just renting your property out. But in fact, that in itself is creating kind of like a supply and demand issue, because now you can't even buy houses like that because they're overpriced. Because who's going to now want to take any less on their investments? People are using houses as investments in a way that generally hasn't been seen before, right? And that's currently the situation. So if you're young, I'll say a millennial, maybe even not you're not young, right? But if you're a millennial or Gen Z, you're having a hard time, no doubt here, right? The boomers are basically holding the overwhelming majority of properties out there, so they're not going to let those houses go at all, right? And when they are gone, they're going to just pass them over to what, Gen A most likely is. No, maybe Gen Z. I think Gen Z is going to have a really good time in the housing market in about 10, 20 years, guys. They're going to get all those houses. But either way, let's go and check this out immediately. We can't afford these houses. Part 1. Let's check it out, guys. Here. Let's do it.
How am I supposed to compete with a hedge fund out of Texas on buying a home? It makes me feel insane because it's like there's a conspiracy against me at this point.
If you're looking for a place to live right now, you face a radically different housing market than people did even just 15 years ago. Home prices have gone up, rents have gone up, evictions have increased, and a whole group of would-be home buyers has been priced out of homeownership, becoming permanent renters.
People want to own the American dream. They don't want to rent the American dream.
They've been replaced by an industry.
Well, really quickly, young lady, I'm going to point something out to you. Even if you own fully, complete, free and clear, you still are basically renting the land. You'll never own the land. Your county does.
That treats our communities and neighborhoods like a day trader treats stocks.
Yep.
Just something to buy and sell to maximize return.
It's been catastrophic.
Really just a few firms have been able to target and corner the market here. Their business model is built on exploitation and on having a very uneven playing field tilted in their favor.
So who exactly is behind this? We went to the cities at the center of this crisis to understand how single-family homes became big business.
Charlotte, okay.
Yo nunca he hablado con los dueños, solamente con las personas que trabajan para el dueño.
For the last 7 years, Sandra de los Santos has rented this house in Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's 7
now,
years?
She's packing up. In a few weeks, she and her family have to leave.
Yo le dije a la compañía que hace 2 años la casa se venía llenando de moho, pero ellos nunca me habían hecho caso.
From the beginning, Sandra's had problems with the rental. Every time it rained, water flooded into the house. Then came the mold.
Mi esposo tuvo que cambiar esa pared para que no nos afectara, porque mis hijos prácticamente ellos cada mes estaban enfermando. Eran desvelos de mis hijos, no íbamos a trabajar por hacer todo eso y ellos no nos han compensado con ni $1.
Yeah, they're not going to compensate you anything, right? Because the problem here is that their goal is to get profits, and if they fix this, then they lose profit, right? Specifically, if you're dealing with like one of these gigantic firms like Progress, let's say, then that's probably even less. They're not going to come out and do anything to your property at all. You better hope you don't live in an area where there are tornadoes or any type of like hurricanes and things like that, because that's just going to take a while. Like the only reason they're going to fix it at that instance is because they know if they don't, they're going to get a lawsuit. Guys, right? You should be trying to sue these people, but specifically if you live in a place where it's like very landlord friendly. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. I am in fact a landlord. All right, I own multiple properties, but I'm not that. Okay. We've never had any single issue with any of my tenants, guys. We make sure we take care of every single thing. We don't raise the rents because these houses are paid off, right? Yes, the taxes are going up. If they do go up, then we lose a little bit of the profit in a sense, guys, right? But we're not, under any circumstance, going to just completely be savages to people.
Nunca, al contrario, nos suben.
My wife and I have already spoken about this.
It's been years since she's been asking for repairs.
Jessica Moreno is a housing organizer who's helping Sandra.
They got their rent raised every year. They do what they can to make sure the rent is paid every single month. And then on top of that, they still have to fix the home.
When she looked into Sandra's landlord, she found it's a Texas-based private equity firm that's among the largest owners of single-family homes in the country.
She rents from a corporate landlord called Amherst. Just in Charlotte, okay. Amherst owns 1,583 homes.
Yeah, see, that right there shouldn't be legal. Okay, like, so when I speak specifically of the 7 homes that I own, I don't refer to. I would never be that, right? I'm not going to sell my properties neither, right? But I don't think that this is okay, right? Because think about it, you just now removed. Let's say times that number by 3. That's how many people you removed from properties. Okay, I mean, like houses, like households at least, guys. From being able to purchase a house is what I think I mean. More better, at least. Not more better, but you get what I'm saying here.
When you think of landlords, you think of someone that has maybe 2 houses, right? That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, backed by Wall Street, corporations that own thousands of homes.
Sandra says she spent $25,000 repairing the house, and Amherst hasn't paid her back for any of it.
They actually have an office here in Charlotte, which we went to, and it's 2 suites that are filled with boxes. No one's there.
After Sandra protested publicly, the company finally contacted her and sent an inspector to the house. Then they offered her $2,000 to leave.
It's a slap in the face. Of course, she said no. She wasn't going to take that. Then they said that she would have to leave at the end of her lease. She was forced out of her community. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people...
Yeah, because you made trouble.
People are under that situation.
Yeah. Because they're like, listen, if you have a problem with the property, just leave the property. What we'll do is we'll sell it, right? We're going to sell it. They're not going to fix it. They're going to sell it because obviously it's bringing them trouble, right? So they'll just literally get rid of this piece of property. Hey, listen, I'll give you $2,000 for the keys, and then I'll just get rid of the property.
This is a problem that didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago.
Taylor Shelton is a geographer who maps the ownership of single-family homes.
Prior to the 2008 foreclosure crisis, large corporations were really not involved in the single-family rental market at all.
After the 2008 crash, Wall Street saw an opportunity in millions of foreclosed homes, especially in the Sunbelt cities hardest hit.
What the foreclosure crisis presented was a mass of available inventory for extremely cheap.
So when property values skyrocketed over the next decade, the proceeds went to Wall Street, not to the people who now rented the homes. The result has been a housing recovery without a homeowner recovery. By 2022, large investors were buying more than 1 in every 4 single-family homes sold in the U.S.
The absolute largest companies there are 2. The first is Invitation Homes, which is a publicly traded real estate investment trust. Right. The next biggest actor is Progress Residential, which is...
Guys, really quick, let me go back to this one here.
Largest companies there are 2. The first is Invitation Homes.
All right, so basically Invitation Homes is an interesting one because a lot of people may not even know, specifically if they're dealing with like their 401k. Maybe, potentially, depending on, I guess, who do you have it by, or any type of IRA or SEP IRA. The issue here is that you're probably involved in these REITs, guys, most likely. REITs are great to dump large quantities of money in. They're great to do that, right? Because the return on it is, they're generally really solid, specifically these days, at least. Maybe in 2007 they weren't as good as they are in 2024, but REITs are definitely great places to house money, specifically if you don't want to have it in a bank, guys.
Which is a publicly traded real estate investment trust. Probably involved in it without knowing it. The next biggest actor is Progress Residential, which is owned by a private equity firm, Pretium Partners, based in New York City on Wall Street. After those two biggest companies, there's really four more. Amherst Holdings, based in Texas, First Key Homes, owned by Cerberus Capital Management, American Homes for Rent, now known as AMH, and then Tricon American Homes. There's really three things that these landlords are able to do. The first is these landlords raise rent and fees at much faster rates than any other type of landlord. The second thing is that eviction is a really core part of their business model. Institutional investors are way more likely to file for eviction, not as a kind of last resort, but actually at the very first moment they're able to. And then the third thing is that we know these companies are actually producing worse outcomes in terms of building maintenance.
Absolutely.
So they are, in effect, providing a worse product for higher prices.
In Atlanta, Wall Street landlords now own more than a quarter of single-family homes.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, guys, when I'm in the United States of America, I am in the Atlanta area, and oh my God, yeah. It's like every single neighborhood. Bro, they're building neighborhoods, subdivisions, specifically to rent every single house and not sell them. These are not for sale. You can't buy any of those. No. Those are just single-family homes that they're building specifically to just rent. It's the craziest thing in the world, but yeah, they're making a lot of money out here. A lot of money.
I met up with Robbie Caban, an Atlanta broker who's been working in real estate for over a decade.
What I've seen is that my clientele, that buying pool of first-time homeowners or elderly who are downsizing, with limited income, like veterans and so on, they're no longer able to purchase. They have just been wiped out because they cannot compete with the other buyers in the market.
Tell me more about the corporate buyers. What influence have you seen them have on the market here?
It's been catastrophic. Truly, the pool of homes available has been so diminished that, in essence, normal people who have just general lending, unlimited funds, are priced out. And they're forced into rentals. And because those same companies control the rentals, there are very little options. When a cash buyer can come in, like the corporate buyers, and buy within 5 days, no appraisal, virtually no inspection, as is, how can a person who needs 30 days or more, needs an inspection, needs a due diligence period, needs an appraisal for the bank, it's required, compete with that?
Like, I went up against somebody one time on a property, one of the ones that I have a loan on, had a loan on. The interesting thing about that was, I offered the amount they want, okay? You want this amount? No worries. We're going to go ahead and make sure we get that amount out to you immediately, right? Through the loan, obviously. And then multiple cash offers started flooding in, okay? We're talking like 75% of what they actually were asking for. This was a great house, right? Pool, like 2 acres. It was nice, guys, okay? And they ended up taking the cash offer. I was just like, I'm offering what you want. But obviously, I think maybe they knew that there may have been some type of issues with the property, guys. But yeah, no inspection, nothing. Cash, signed the documents, mine. That's all they were. That's what they went for, guys. 75% of what I was offering, they took because it was cash. And I was just like, oh, guys, that was crazy, guys.
They can't.
It was crazy. I was like, what do you mean?
According to one study,
in the Atlanta area,
owning to renting has resulted in over $1 billion of lost equity for renters over the last 10 years. And that's just in Atlanta.
I mean, I paid $24,000 last year for a place that I have nothing to show for.
Austin Hunter is a cabinet maker whose last 3 landlords have been different investment firms, most recently First Key Homes. In the last 6 years, Austin's rent has doubled. Long term, he thinks it might make more sense just to live in his van.
How am I supposed to compete with a hedge fund from Texas that's trying to buy a house when any house that I could ostensibly afford, they're coming in with cash? Yep. It really feels like I'm pushing a boulder up the hill and continually getting bludgeoned by the boulder coming back down on me.
Right.
Corporate owners of single-family homes argue that they don't contribute to the housing crisis, pointing to the fact that nationally they own less than 10% of the market.
They're right. Because if you look at actually, who owns what, right? You'll realize instantly that there is one age group that owns everything. and multiples of everything, let's say, right? They do not own a gigantic portion of the houses in the United States of America, but the problem is that they own the majority of the houses, let's say, or close to it, it feels like, at least, in the places where we want to live. Okay? That's the reality, and that's the real problem. Okay, the majority of houses in the United States of America are owned by boomers in places where no one wants to live. Fact. Yes, that's the fact. But they own all the cities.
But if you're looking for a place to live, the market you care about isn't national. It's one neighborhood versus another. And in some cities, these firms are building local monopolies.
The way these companies' business practices have evolved is essentially to avoid competing with one another through this geographic targeting. Invitation Homes tends to purchase in, on average, wealthier and whiter communities. Progress and Main Street Renewal tend to focus on somewhat poor, predominantly black neighborhoods. In some neighborhoods, it's upwards of 50 or even 75% of all single-family rentals are owned by these large Wall Street investors. That element of market power is really significant in the way these companies operate, really meaning that if you want to live in a given neighborhood, you're forced into working with a single landlord.
Today, my administration is sending a very clear message to the corporate landlords.
In July, the Biden-Harris administration announced a new plan to slow rent increases.
We are going to cap rent increases at no more than 5% a year. Period.
Okay.
The proposal?
I mean, listen, that sounds decent, but then you'll have to speak to the county assessors, guys. You're going to have to talk to them specifically, quickly, as fast as humanly possible, and say you cannot raise the taxes more than 5% if that's the case. Because I know my situation, and I know if other people were in the same situation, but they had a loan still out on their house, and they had to pay it, but yet their taxes are going up, and now, even though someone is renting the property, the mortgage plus the taxes, right, is higher than what they're renting for, right? So you'll have to speak to the county assessors, guys. You're gonna have to, right? Because other than that, that's not really a viable thing. That means you're just talking, Biden.
No more than 5% a year.
Clearly, I might say, give this man a hand.
Period.
The proposal follows another effort by Democrats in Congress to address corporate landlords' control over the housing market.
We should get the hedge funds out of the housing business.
Senator Merkley's bill would cap ownership at 100 properties and make corporate landlords sell the rest in 10 years. But so far, no legislation has been.
Hold on a second.
Corporate landlords sell the rest in. Bill would cap ownership at 100 properties and make corporate landlords sell the rest in 10 years.
That's still too much.
So far, no legislation has been brought up for a vote. Corporate ownership of single-family homes is hardly the only problem with our housing system. But the way Wall Street has siphoned up neighborhoods that were once a path to building wealth for working people, it's really one of the clearest examples of the fundamental problem.
We value money, not people. That's what this system says. We value money, not people.
That's valid. That's valid. I mean, listen, guys. My opinion, obviously. What I would personally say is, you can live somewhere. The problem is that many people want to live next to or on top of each other, right? Guys, there is land for sale for literally nothing around the United States of America, okay? And I mean nothing. But the problem is, guys, the problem is that no one wants to live here. But maybe we should, right? Maybe we should start populating the areas that people just do not really want to be. Create your own communities, right? Slowly build something on your land, guys. Example, right? I had to pull this up really quickly because maybe for those who don't understand this here, okay, a lot of people use these as their bank account, okay? So what happens is, I have additional, I saved up $10,000 over whatever amount of time. I'm going to go ahead and purchase some land, right? So for example, this 62-acre plot is in Leda. Water is going to be interesting here, but that doesn't matter because really you're just holding the land, right? You're using this for the most part as a land trust. Anyway, so what some people do, this, I'm not giving you financial advice here, guys. I'm just telling you what some people do. So they'll go ahead and say, I have $10,000. Let me go ahead and purchase this 62 acres. Okay, great. I'm never going to put nothing on it. I'm just going to hold it. Later on, what I'm going to do eventually is maybe subdivide it and start selling it as, 10-acre plots or 5-acre plots of land for people that want to be in this area doing something, right? I'm going to sell you a 5-acre plot for, I don't know, say $5,000. Well, you know, $1,000 an acre, guys. And this is how people make money, right? And they're everywhere. Obviously, this one here is 80 acres in, I think Wyoming, maybe it is $30,000, 80 acres. And most of these people on these websites specifically will do owner finance. So you can literally give them a specific percentage of whatever they're asking for and then just make monthly payments on it. Again, people use these as their bank occasionally. And these are everywhere. Name of the website, landwatch.com. I'm not promoting the website. I'm just telling you, like, this is just where you do it at, right? If you didn't know, this is where you buy cheap land, guys. Okay. Is it going to be in a city? No, right? It's not going to be in a city at all. Okay. But if you can find a way to make some type of like a side hustle, something where you can earn some type of income, not having to be in some gigantic city, I think that'll probably be the smartest thing going forward. A lot of people are talking about, I want to, live in a van. Well, okay, great, bro. Live in your van. Example. Let me not limit this. Anyway, so yeah, example. Live in the land. Bro, you can go get this plot of land right now for $75 in Arkansas. Okay. Kingman, Arizona. A lot of people going out here. A lot of homesteaders are out in Mojave County, guys, doing this. Own today with just $100 a month. What does it say? They're not specifying their plan. There it goes. The cash price, $3,663. $100 down, $100 a month. This looks to be little to no interest, right? And then there you go. You just pulled 0.2 acres of recreational land in Mojave County. That's the plot right there. Boom. Go ahead and build something on it. Okay? Oh, you want to go live in a van? Great. Live in a van on your land. Just listen, guys. I'm just trying to put you on game. All right. Some people may already know this, but I'm not talking to you guys. Congratulations, right? But I'm talking to the ones who don't understand that this is a plausible thing, right? A lot of these places are nowhere, right? But it's yours. You don't have to rent all the time, guys. All right. All right. Listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.